Thank you! Yes! What did I tell you?
Good morning, colleagues. For my individual lesson plan, rather than focus on my broad base, I wanted to build a lesson plan based on my long-term occasional experiences here working outside my broad base. And today I wanted to focus on changing a tire on a vehicle. Now I'm going to briefly just show parts of the curriculum that I've incorporated into this lesson today. And it's important that I highlight that I built this lesson asynchronously. So I'm briefly going to touch on my learning targets here. I want students to learn how to locate and utilize proper vehicle literature. I think as future vehicle owners, I think it's really important that we learn our vehicles, we develop some skills, and we gain a little bit of confidence so that we can recognize some of these basic tasks, like changing a tire, isn't nearly as difficult as we seem to think it is. I would like students to be able to describe the necessary steps in changing a wheel. I would like them to be able to analyze what available tools they have in their vehicle or at home that can assist them in something like this. I'm going to ask them to perform a changing of the wheel, and if not so much the wheel, if they don't feel comfortable with this, I would like them to perform some kind of bolt sequencing pattern, because how you actually reapply the lugs is a very crucial step in this entire process. And then I'm going to get them to do a self-evaluation to begin this whole process and a self-reflection at the end of it, because I would like to see where they are at the starting point of this lesson and where they end up. The starting point is very crucial to me because it gives me a window into their level of comfort, and then I can modify the instruction as necessary to suit their needs. So once again, I think this lesson is really important because it equips students with some knowledge, some critical life skills in terms of enhancing their independence and safety. I would like to think this is blending a bit of hands-on experience along with some problem-solving skills. Once again, it's a bit of a scaffolding approach when it comes to working in the transportation industry, I suppose. But most importantly, it is focusing on helping them gain their confidence and build those critical skills that we're all looking to, I guess, foster in our students. So for the material and resources, this is why I thought this would be a great asynchronous lesson, because pretty much every parent's family, friend, uncle, cousin, whoever owns a vehicle. So for my material and resources, first and foremost, you need a mode of transportation. Now I've taken into consideration that either A, most students might not be comfortable working on a parent's vehicle, or B, there might not be a vehicle present. So I've allowed some differentiation in this instruction where students can work on a scooter or a bicycle, anything that revolves around changing a wheel. And part of this lesson is going to focus on torquing. And that is one of the other things that I really want to drive home is the torquing of wheels and nuts. Because everything has a torque setting on it in the automotive industry, which is something I learned along the way. They need tire changing tools, safety glasses, documentation forms, lubricants, a sledgehammer in case a wheel gets stuck, cardboard to clamp a mess. So there's a ton of different materials and resources that are in this lesson plan. I've included some PowerPoint presentations, and one of my pieces that I'm including in this lesson plan is I'm going to do a 10-minute recorded introduction, I guess, into this lesson, which is going to incorporate me going through the process of changing a wheel in my final lesson plan. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm just going to verbally explain it to satisfy my lesson plan requirements. And eventually I would like to incorporate this into a permanent lesson plan. So in its entirety, I will be going through the step-by-step process of removing a tire, reinstalling it, and torquing it to specifications. Additionally, in this lesson plan, I put in a lot of YouTube video links that will help students reference step-by-step procedures in case my instructions aren't clear enough. I recognize that sometimes when I deliver instruction, that I either speak too fast or not clearly enough, or I get a little distracted. So I've added some more resources in there that students can reference to help them through this process. In terms of assessment in my lesson plan, I've got the self-evaluations, the reflections, the final project presentation of them doing this, and descriptive feedback. Also in this lesson plan, I've incorporated a lot of the wheel torque specifications that students can reference. But again, I really want to drive home or stress that they're doing their research, they're finding out their vehicle, they're making their model, so they can understand that whole process of how much information can be obtained when they are researching their own vehicle. There's tons of information, whether it's from the owner's manual inside your vehicle or through just general websites and applications out there. It's never been easier to access information on a vehicle than it is today. I would also like them to utilize digital technology to get some of the answers that they're looking for. As every make and model of vehicle is different, the location of their jacks or their tools are going to be in different locations. In my truck, for instance, it's under my back seat. Some vehicles, it's going to be in the trunk. Part of the exploration of this assignment is going to be where they locate those tools. And again, it's going to be in their owner's manual that it's going to tell them if they're not sure where it is. That owner's manual will guide them in the right direction. And that is my goal, is to get these students of mine to become familiar with their vehicle. And that means going through the owner's manual. I'd also like to think that in my lesson plan, I've included for some accommodations. I recognize some students may not be comfortable, like I already highlighted. Some students might not like using power tools, or they've never used power tools in the past. So that's why I've allowed for them to use different means of transportation for them to work on something where they can build from. And if it's a bicycle, if it's a scooter, if it's just a series of bolts on something that they have at home, so they can at least build some of those skills, get familiar with tools, and that's completely fine by me. I've allowed for additional time for them to complete the project because not everybody is going to work at the same speed. So I have flexible deadlines in my assignment as a whole. If there's one thing that I learned during my entire year teaching transportation on that LTO, is preventative maintenance is a reoccurring theme through every single project that we do. Whether it's your brakes, to your tires, to your oils, 30-point inspections, it's always about preventative maintenance. It's about teaching young people cost preventative measures and allowing them to build confidence in some of these very, very basic skills in transportation itself. Will everyone want to do this after they've tried this lesson once? Probably not. It's a pretty boring task to change a tire, especially when you don't have a hoist handy. But at least they'll have an idea. And it's a good starting point. It's a good jumping off point to show them how easily they can obtain some of these skills to feel more confident in their approaches.